Thinking Tackle, sponsored by Dower Infinity.
Welcome to the last episode in this series of Thinking Tackle. I'm Ali Hamidi and we're on the banks of the magnificent Yateley complex on the Surrey-Hampshire border. We're going to be joined by special guest and my best mate, Gareth Fareham, who's been concentrating his fishing here for the last couple of years, and most notably on one of the hardest lakes in the country, the Carp Lake. He's had some amazing results, and what we're going to do now is go around the venue, look at some of the swims and relive some of those memorable captures. Mr. Fareham,
Morning, Mr.
Great to have you back on the show.
Always a pleasure.
James, very sorry to hijack your swim, but there's a special reason we're in here.
Yeah, there is indeed. This is the famous Desi's swim, one of the most popular and fished spots on the lake. And yeah, this is the spot I had my first bite from.
Now, before you tell me about your first bite, let's tell the viewers a little bit about how many carp are in this lake and a bit about the history of it.
Okay, so you've got 6 of the original mirrors still left out of the 9. There used to be 9, sadly 3 of them have gone now. Chunky, Single Scale and Uglo, sadly all passed away sort of 3 or 4 years ago now. So you've still got the 6 originals left. You've got Heather, Arthur, obviously, the 2 big girls. You've got the big orange and the baby orange, and you've got Pearly Tail and the Dustbin. So you've got the 6. Then you've got a few commons as well.
So what was the first capture then?
Yeah, my first capture was the Dustbin, which amazingly it is probably my favourite carp in the lake, and has been my favourite carp probably, you know, for as long as I can remember, really.
I mean, I remember getting the text and then the phone call when you said the fish was in it. Was it down there?
Yeah. I just had my hand on its shoulder. Yeah, it was mad.
Unbelievable. Now, you've been telling me a lot in the past about the spots you fish and just how unique the fishing is on this place. It looks pretty crazy. Where do you start when you fish a lake like this?
To be honest, I mean, quite incredibly actually, I had my bite on my 6th night. I'd only done 6 nights, so I was still quite new to the place.
I'd expect nothing less from you, by the way.
I had a vague idea of the spots and that, but I didn't really know them. And it was a really grey, overcast, horrible day when I'd got here. And it rained all day, and I was sitting here watching. I didn't have any rods out yet, and a common showed on a spot out there just in line with the reeds.
Yep.
And I just marked it mentally. I was right, well, you know, I'll put a lead out there and have a look later. And then another common showed a little bit to the left, and it transpires through what I know now that they're actually the 2 main spots on the lake. So thankfully those 2 commons gave away those 2 spots. I could have spent a couple of hours out there leading and possibly not found them spots because they're not really that big.
Would the anglers not tell you about them, or is it
Well,
sort of the unspoken law of not asking anyone?
No, I mean, to be fair, everyone is quite open on here because the spots are so well known, really. But obviously 6 nights in, I hadn't spent a lot of time here, and I kind of didn't really want to ask any blatant questions like that. I wanted to work it out for myself.
Suss it out for yourself.
Yeah, so it was one of them. I put a lead out and it just went crack first time, and I just went, oh, and it, with the gravel, and then pulled into some weeds, and I was like, there's one spot. Sorted it, and put the bait in this sort of early evening, and 4 or 5 hours later it was away. And then
I was going to stop you because you said something about the crack. Now, for those of you who don't know, that crack means a clear spot, a hard spot, and that generally means a feeding area, doesn't it?
Certainly does on here, not on all lakes, but on here, without question, the harder and the cleaner and the more obvious the spot, the better it is for a bite on here.
A lot of that's got to be down to the fact there's so few fish in here. You need to ensure that your rig's presented as in its best possible form.
Yeah, it's got to be, has to be presented absolutely perfectly. You've got to know everything's perfect. But more so than that, these fish have been fished for 20 years plus. You know, they're big fish. They eat bait and they know exactly where that bait is going to be. You know, I mean, the lake is stuffed full of natural, but they still go back to them spots to feed. You know. Amazing.
Right. So first capture. Talk me through it.
Right. Okay. Well, it was after dark actually, and I was laying in bed actually, texting my mate Scott from up north, and we were just having a bit of banter, and I had a single bleep. I looked out, and then the next thing, it's just absolutely melted off. No, unquestionably a carp bite, obviously.
Yeah.
So I just literally scrambled out of bed, missed my shoes straight away, just out in my socks, and and I hit it, and it just it didn't really do anything to start with. And then it came back till it got to about level with the island, and at that time I was still thinking maybe it was a little common or a tench or something like that. And then it took a bit of line, and then it just kind of plodded around. It didn't really do a lot, and it was really dark. It's always really dark here because of the tree cover.
Yep.
And so I flicked my torch on, and it was just plodding around in the edge. And then I just saw the tip of my leg coil come out, and then just this dirty, great big grey leather was just rolled over on the surface, and then just charged off on top. And straight away I knew it was either Heather or the dustbin. So literally, like my legs literally did.
Yeah, Bruce Grobbler.
Yeah, literally. I've never felt anything like that on any lake ever.
Yep.
And then it fought like stink for the next 15 minutes. Once I'd seen it, didn't fight until I'd seen it.
Exactly.
And then it fought.
One
of them. So, and then just literally finally, I just managed to get it in the net, and like literally, I was like that with my rod. It went in, and I just dropped my rod. Like just from up there.
Did you hug it? Did you get in and hug it?
And it was one of them, you know. It was, and then obviously flicked the torch back on and saw which one it was. Give it the shout.
How big was it?
It was 42 pound 6, I believe.
So all your dreams come true. A Yateley 40 in the dustbin as well.
My favourite one. Out that little heart-shaped tail and big rounded shoulders. Just beautiful.
Immense. Now I know you went on to catch another one on that same trip. Is that right?
Yeah, I did the morning after. Amazingly, it was away again. First light. That one, I had a few problems with the island. It went right in behind the island, snagged me up behind there. I gave it a bit of slack. I just took a chance, opened my bail on. Let it take 15-20 yards of line, snapped it back shut, leant back into it, and it came back around the island, thankfully, and that was a 24-pound common. One of the old strain ones, probably one of the Redmire ones.
Amazing. Right, well, Dez's is done. Let's go to the scene of Heather.